than the Iran that exists now with Iran with nuclear weapons. And if we can return to the deal and hold them tight.
In the past said you'll do anything, and you say it again, that you'll ensure Iran would not acquire nuclear weapons. Does that also mean, sir, that you would use force against Iran? Is that what that means, if needed?
That was the last resort, yes.
Well, let's get some analysis now with Meir Javedanfar, who's a Middle East analyst. He joins us now from Tel Aviv. Really good to have you back with us, Meir. Can we start with the revival of the Iran nuclear deal? We heard there some strong words from President Joe Biden, who said that he would use force as a last resort if Iran were to develop nuclear weapons. Is that something that Israelis want to hear?
It is, but we're not anywhere near that at this point. President Biden wants to return to the Iranian nuclear deal, and I think that's a very good decision. There are some people in Israel who do support this, especially people who belong who are former members of the security establishment in the state of Israel. President Trump made a terrible mistake of walking out of the nuclear deal, but right now we are at a stage where it seems that Iranian leadership, rather, that's responsible for not returning to the nuclear deal. So the Israelis wanted to hear that, okay, if at the end of the day the Iranians decide to make a nuclear weapon, would America apply force? And Biden said yes. And to be quite frank, this is something that we knew before anyway. But it's something that Israelis want to ensure that President Biden is going to follow.
And we really can't ignore the stark difference between President Joe Biden's approach towards Israel and that of his predecessor, Donald Trump. Donald Trump, for example, declared Jerusalem to be the capital of Israel, something that US policy had resisted for decades. Trump also cut hundreds of millions of dollars of funding for a UN organization that supports Palestinians, something that the Biden administration has also reversed. We also know that the US President Joe Biden has reaffirmed his support for a two-state solution, which, as we know, has been a decades-long US policy, and that's something that was undermined under the former US President Donald Trump. How will the current Israeli administration view Joe Biden's approach to the US relations with Israel?
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate you for your honesty, because there are people who are accusing Biden of continuing Trump's policy, which is not true at all. President Biden has taken a different approach. Look, whether he will succeed really depends first and foremost on domestic politics in Israel. We're going from one election to another. We don't even have a government to decide what to do with the other issues which are priorities to Israelis, such as the health budget or the issue of transportation, public transportation, and other issues. So when we don't have a government, we can't go very far. In terms of, and there's also the other issue is that, okay, when we do have a government, it's usually right-wing movements who do not want a Palestinian state. And even if we get through that hurdle, then there is the issue of PLO versus Hamas. Who can we make peace with? We can never make peace with Hamas the way they're continuing, which means that ultimately, even if we clear the hurdle of having a government in Israel and having a government which does want a peace with Palestinians, then the best we can hope for is peace with the PLO in the West Bank, because that's as far as we can go, because Hamas does not even recognize our right to exist. So we have a lot of hurdles to clear, and we're not even at the beginning of them.
No, that's exactly right. And of course, all eyes will be on the highly anticipated meeting between Biden and Mahmoud Abbas, which is due to happen on Friday. Meir Javedanfar, we'll have to leave it there, but appreciate your analysis as always. Thank you.